guys, welcome to another episode of Pure Outdoors. I'm Parrish and today I have a special guest. We have Chris Barnett over here with, he's the Vice President of Deception Sense. I'm going to pick his brain a little bit for you because we've had a lot of questions. And over here we got Bill the Duck God Arnold. So he does a lot of our testing for us and everything, and we do a lot of hunting with him. So we got a pretty good episode today. What we're going to do is to do a recap of our duck season and deer season and everything on the ATA show. So, hey, without further ado, let's get this thing started, guys. Glad y'all was able to make it here to the office and we could talk about all this. I know we got an exciting deal going on now. Chris, real quick, what was your take on deer season? I know you had a good season this year.
Had a great season this year. Cut short, you know, as work does sometimes. It interferes with our hunting season. But I was very fortunate. You and I went up to Bigger Buck Outfitters, well, along with Bill and Clint. We took two different stand sites, and we had a cameraman and a hunter in both, and we were going to try to. We had a whole week taken out of the schedule that we could go up there and visit Travis at Bigger Bucks. And we had some great deer that were coming in on camera. They were coming in daylight, like everybody wants to see. Went up there the week before Halloween, and on the first morning set that you and I had, we got into the stand. We sat there right at 10 minutes, and we were just getting into shooting hours, just a few minutes into shooting hours, and my hunt was over.
Yeah,
I was able to have a pretty decent 9-point walk out in front of us, and able to stretch it out to 15 yards and put the deer down.
Nothing like hearing a 250-pound plus deer running through the corn. I mean, that was kind of a wild sound.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
an Arkansas boy is not used to having 10-foot tall standing corn with deer coming through it, so it sounded like a herd of elephants coming at us.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, when you're talking about getting cut short, we had to leave for work, you know, took priority, and that next morning, the deer that I had planned on killing walks right in front of our camera and stand. You could see everything.
8:30.
Yeah, 8:30. Oh, I was mad. So, and you know, then of course, Bill, you were on a pretty good spot that some of that land that Travis had just picked up too, and I knew we had some good shooters on it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Well, if y'all recall too, you know, after y'all would have, obviously that big buck Thor came through that next morning, but right after that, a huge storm system moved in, dumped like 5 or 6 inches of rain on the set, and so it kind of would have been probably a wash for a few days anyhow. I think some of the hunters in camp there at Bigger Buck did maybe connect during some of that bad weather, but I went back up. You ended up coming up a few days after I got up there. I did some solo hunting. Man, we hit it hard. You were all over big deer, if I remember that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was. I actually, Chris couldn't come up to run the cameras. I had to call a friend of mine.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right, Mark.
So Mark come up here. Mark didn't know what to expect, because other than when you hear somebody talk about, oh man, got some big bucks, and you're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but we had a half a dozen deer on one
camera.
On one camera.
Yeah,
the smallest one was a 140.
And you know, so we got up there that first full day. You know, we were spraying down with our deception, and he said, "Are there really good deer here?" I said, "Man, I'm telling you, if they show up, it's gonna blow your mind."
Yeah. And
of course, I'm looking in the cornfield.
Right.
And Mark's facing the other way, and he says, "Deer, don't move." Out of habit, I look back, and there's a shooter, and he sees me move my head. I'm like, so we said, you know what, the heck with this. We grabbed the stands, took them off the edge of the field. I'm not a field hunter. I can't handle it. We got in the woods, and we had deer. I mean, we had deer every day. We had deer within bow range, but not what we wanted.
You had fighting bucks.
Yeah, and one afternoon, about 2 o'clock, Mark said, "Hey, there's 2 bucks fighting." And so I turned around and finally found it. You can hear it, and we finally found it. And suddenly I said, "Man, is this a cow walking?" Because there's no way a deer can make that much noise walking. And when this deer showed up, my body just started to shake. He's like, "Calm down." I said, and it was the one I called Thor, and it was the deer.
Yeah.
And
heck of a deer.
So I grabbed the grunt call, started grunting. He looked up and he turns, starts coming to us. I'm like, oh dear Lord, here it comes. I'm like, if I could just get the bow back, I'll kill him. And so, but I can't see which way he's going, which side of the tree. So I'm trying to like going back and forth, and I see which way he's going. I said, okay, I got him. So I was following his line of travel, and I'm like, oh, you're so gone. So I drew my bow back, and I was just following, and just, if I was home, I'd have shot the deer, but I can't take that shot on that caliber of a deer up there and lose it. And when he walked off, Mark leaned down, and he's like, what in the blankety blank did you just do? And I'm like, man, I just didn't have a clear shot. I had some holes, but just, he said, my God, that thing looked like a cow with horns on its head. And a 17-year-old kid ended up killing it. You saw the deer that night, didn't you?
It was a nice
And,
deer.
you know, he ended up scoring, what did they say, 185 in the third?
No, I say that. No, I wasn't there. You were still there because I've seen the video on Bigger Buck Outfitters Instagram page because you're there looking at the deer talking about it. It's huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He scored 185 inches. Oh, I question myself 1,000 times, but I know I made the right decision. I've shot enough deer to learn. Not on that type of caliber deer. You know,
Parrish, I'll be honest. In terms of, I've gotten to hunt with you now for a year and a half, 2 seasons full. To me, that was one of the most impressive things I've seen you do in the outdoors. I think because I know how bad you wanted that deer. I mean, I don't know what you were doing at night with pictures of that deer, but I do know what it meant to you, and I do know that Mark verified it was in range, and that you just made a very ethical decision there on the deer you had been dreaming about for months. And you know what? It got killed later on, and you weren't upset at all. I talked to you about it. You know, it was a really impressive thing.
Our first pictures of that deer were in August.
Yeah.
So we got to watch that deer for months.
Oh.
And it was showing up multiple times a week.
Absolutely.
Daytime pictures, nighttime pictures.
But, you know, it's like Mark said, he goes, that's a true testament to y'all scent elimination because that deer, all them deer were downwind of us. And, you know, we're here and he's coming up to us on that walkway. And he says, that deer had no clue.
Yeah. Well, it's not just a scent elimination. Like I said, we were getting pictures in August.
Yeah.
And we were making, what we did was we set some cameras up and a stand up and we put mock scrapes down.
Yeah.
And we had that deer working scrapes all summer long.
He's on there multiple times, you know, tearing it up.
Y'all are talking about this scent eliminator, and you know, I got kind of, and we may start back. I wanted to touch on some of the stuff we did early season, but while we're talking about the scent elimination, you know, I don't know how much y'all didn't get out as much during rifle season this year as I think you were planning on, but you did get out some.
Yeah.
I happened to, you know, normally I'm the duck guy. I only duck hunted twice because of the water situation before Christmas. Mm-hmm. So I spent more time in a deer stand this year than I ever had.
You poured it to it. I mean,
and y'all, I mean, no kidding. I've got over $100 on camera. I was around them constantly. I only got busted, say, 3 or 4 times, and mainly hunting ground blind sets. Only one of those might have been my scent, and that's still debatable in that scenario. And I hadn't sprayed down. I worked on building the blind up, sweated my, you know what. But other than that, like, I had deer so many times too where I was setting new ground blinds set that day, go in, even though it's going to be awkward with the deer. I don't know how many times I had deer literally looking at the blind, knowing it hadn't been there, that would walk a circle around through the brush, and I would watch it, and it would come out, check it out one more time, and go to feed. They could not figure me out, and I was having unbelievable encounters, and they'll get to see some of that footage this year.
I mean, the footage I've seen that you shot was just unbelievable. Chris, you had a bunch of it, because I remember you were sending me cell phone videos at the same time.
Well, and I was taking, you know, I took my daughter hunting a few times with me, and we had deer directly downwind from us. I had a buck that I have a history with. I've got pictures of him from when he was 2 years old a couple of years ago, and now he's a good 4-year-old. If he had a matching set of horns, it'd be 150 some odd inches. But he has a club on one side that has a little fork at the top of it and has a beautiful rack on the right side. But I had him, I got 9 minutes of video of him and with downwind, and didn't even know I was in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, we have heard a lot from customers this year saying that deer downwind, and they're saying deer closer to their stands than what they're normally used to being seeing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are getting more successful. And I'm gonna ask you, Chris, and I'll ask you, Bill, because the question I get asked a lot: what separates us from the other competitors?
Absolutely.
Sure. And we do shows and we talk to people, all the time about this. And I guess the easiest way to say it is we're a chemical company that got into hunting. We're not a hunting company that tried to get into chemical. So we already had the products and then we applied it to a need. We didn't have a need and then try to develop a product for it. So
right.
it was that's the first thing that makes us different than everyone else out there. As far as the product itself being different, our product has no residue left behind, so you don't smell like anything. You don't smell like dirt. You don't smell like vanilla. You don't smell
see all
like
that white stuff left over.
You don't have any of that chalky white stuff because there is no residue. Our product, once it reacts to the pathogens that are on your clothes and on your skin, it gases off and it's completely gone. So there's nothing drifting downwind. Going back to Bill's point, he was sitting in a ground blind, feet away from deer. They knew something was different, but they didn't smell anything, so they were never alarmed.
No.
That's truthfully all. That's the biggest difference. I tried some scent elimination stuff over the years off and on, especially when I was trying to bow hunt. And y'all kind of said, hey, we need you to go out and just kind of really put this to the test. So that's one of the reasons I was putting myself on the ground with these things. But what I found is, and what I think I talk about some during some of my sets is the fact that I'm a working guy. All three of us have normal jobs. And I say normal. I guess whatever. But the point is, they're jobs that they're not 40-hour a week and you're done kind of thing. They're always going. Well, then you've got to work the hunting in. And I keep pointing this out to people. Like when I go down there on that farm, any of my places, I'm managing a lot of acreage too on top of whatever else I'm doing. A lot of times I'm not able to just hunt. I don't know how many times I had to go down there, let's say bush hog some stuff or brush a blind or do physical work, get sweaty, and then have like an hour and a half to go climb in a ground blind or whatever. This product, I didn't have to have a special ozone bag, and I didn't have to screw a bunch of stuff in and spray some ozone out to try to cover it up. I didn't have to try to crush sin or do whatever. I could literally take a bottle of our product out, hose down. I would normally do 2 layers worth, and just and that's it. Man, I'm talking about spray the hat down a little, all that, and go get in a blind. And that's the kind of reactions I'm having with these animals. Now, part of that, I'm not going to lie, I really, really believe also is really enabled by the estrus and this year's Pure Scrape. I don't mean
that Pure Scrape. That was a grand slam.
If
I don't know how many people has called and said, "I heard about it. Gotta have it."
Well, and the estrus. Look, when I'm out there hunting, the estrus, y'all, is to me the deal, and we've had it for a couple years. But where the Pure Scrape, and I think you guys harped on this earlier, and we were all talking about it during the year. If you're out there, I challenge you to do this in this early fall coming up. Before the rut starts, but when they start doing that thing, and y'all know what I mean. I want y'all to take a bottle of our Pure Scrape, and I want you to put a camera on it. And I want you to create a mock scrape in an area you would like to hunt. I did this on a lot of my sets this year, couple weeks out from rifle season. Immediately, I started getting pictures, and I talked to a lot of people. And I mean it. If you're watching this, try it. I guarantee you're going to get deer on camera, and you are going to create a social networking spot right there in front of your stand.
Well, to tell you how impressed we were with it, we were going to test it this year to launch it next year. And we started testing in August of this year, and we were able to inventory the whole herd on the property during August because they were using these scrapes and they were hitting all of them. We tested up in Illinois too with bigger bugs.
Yeah, Travis put a tree out there,
yeah,
spray it, and all of a sudden he would send us pictures, and that quick. So I was like, man, that's where we're sitting here thinking, okay, what else great product could we build, and help the hunters be successful, because we're hunters, and so then that's when we, say, okay, we got a surprise coming out at the ATA. And speaking of that ATA, Chris, what do you think?
ATA was incredible.
Yes,
it was incredible.
I would say the section hit a grand slam at the bottom of the ninth of the World Series.
Technically, this was our second ATA. The first one was virtual, so we didn't.
I don't even count that one.
We have products that you have to experience in person. You have to see them. You have to smell them. You have to see the demonstration. And thanks to some videos that were taken at ATA, a lot of people got to experience it via video that normally wouldn't have got to see it. And we've been blessed beyond measure since then.
Yeah, I mean, Chris looked like a politician because everybody just wanted to come up here and talk.
Absolutely.
Like,
Chris does a great job of
Yeah.
explaining the product. I think I've seen some videos of those interviews he was doing.
Yeah, Chris is real in depth with it, where I just get to the point,
Well,
but it's real good. I mean, the ATA was a successful trip for us, and now they're going. The consumers fixing to start seeing our stuff on the shelves at their local stores and stuff.
Absolutely. Well, and that kind of we've talked about our season and everything, and I think we're probably about out of time. But one thing I did want to touch on is we worked with Whitetail Greens LLC out of Missouri this year, and we're talking about what was happening early season, what was happening during the rifle season. What we did on the front end, created some opportunity as well, and made those opportunities. Now, deer food plots, due to the weather, it was not the product. Like it germed great. We broadcast. I didn't drill any of it this year. All broadcast. It germed up great. The weather kind of knocked our deer stuff down. However, the duck food plot we also had made from Whitetail Greens that was only broadcast, again, not drilled, did fantastic. The one on the lease we've got there, that stuff, it's thick. It came up. I've got video of it growing early. We'll work in. It's good stuff, and that early season prep, you can't say enough about that. That sets the table for your season, and your season a lot of times, especially when it comes to duck hunting. I tell people all the time, my duck season is made between June and August.
Yep.
That's when I get my grass seeds growing. That's when I get it going. So, can't say enough for early season prep. But I think that brings us probably out of time, guys, on this.
Yeah, we're right there. Chris, any last thing you want to say, or?
No, I think we covered everything. Just kind of giving you guys a recap of how our deer season went and what we did to get it to where it ended up, and I think we did good.
Yeah, Bill?
Awesome, man. No, hey, look, it was this year was a full year for me. Last year, y'all had me trying it. I didn't have cameras going. I was just doing my cell phone and stuff, and y'all kind of were like, hey man, we need our pro staff guy to be filming this. So this year I was ready, and I practiced during turkey season. And obviously, I apologize to anybody out there that watches my footage because I am still learning. But you're gonna get to see a lot of these reactions, and you're gonna get to see how I'm setting these fields up on every hunt with a combination of the scent elimination in tandem with our attractants and our Reaper grunt call. The effects you're gonna get to see were awesome. It's the best deer season I've ever had. It really was, and I credit this stuff.
Well, guys, thank you for joining in for this episode of Pure Outdoors, and we will see you all in the next round. And once again, everybody stay safe out in the woods. We'll talk to you later.